this house or that house, right? When you're deciding to get married or not, right? You're trying to get at what's truest or best because you don't want to just talk yourself into it, right? You want to make the right choice, right? Now, philosophy asks us to argue in this manner, right? Aimed at what's truest or best. It asks us to be persuaded by reasons, but if reason cannot approach this question of truth and give us any sort of answers, if Heraclitus and Parmenides are, it's impossible to get past them, right? Then we've got some real trouble, right? So these sophists, they provided a sort of a major social problem for the Athenians. The Athenians, who based their system of justice on the second form of argument, were very concerned that this kind of persuasive form of argument that doesn't get at the truth but just convinces people to think in the same way, right, would undermine their theory, their justice system. Right? So, right, what we wind up with is a situation in which we find Socrates, right, after these sophists. Nobody really got past the sophists. The distinction between Heraclitus and Parmenides, that contradiction needed resolving, and we find Socrates in a situation where he's up on charges. And the charges, right, were from two sets of accusers in the Apology. Right? The first set of accusers accused Socrates of corrupting the youth and not believing in the gods of the state. Right? As we'll see, these are fairly easy charges to knock down. These weren't the real charges that Socrates was afraid of. The real charges that Socrates was afraid of came from public opinion of him. Right? And in general, right, people were warned that Socrates was a sophist. Right? He searches into things in the heavens and under the earth, and he tried to make the weaker appear the stronger. That's what the sophists did, right? With their rhetoric or persuasive argumentation. They tried to make the weaker side of the argument appear to be the stronger side. Right? In fact, there was one famous Greek sophist, right, who wrote a book that was subtitled "How to Make Whatever Side of a Law Case You Happen to Be Arguing Seem the Best." So there we have our first example of a contemporary sophist, and if we think about it, if you're a lawyer, what's the one question you never ask your client? Are you guilty? It's not even the lawyer's job to know the truth. Right? A lawyer, all they do is try to persuade a judge or a bunch of jurors that their side of the argument is the one that should be supported. Right? The truth of the situation is not the lawyer's business. It's not the lawyer's job. Can we think of other examples? Advertising execs, for example. Right? Does it matter that your product is the best, or do you just want people to buy it? Right? Does it matter that this knife can cut cans, or is that just a tactic that advertising execs are using to get you to want it? Et cetera, et cetera. Do you really need peanut butter and jelly in the same jar? All right? No. It's a persuasive form of argumentation that just tries to get you to agree, not at what's really best or truest or necessary for you. Right? So, Socrates was being accused of being one of these sophists. Right? And in the next lecture, we'll see just how he responds. Thank you.